Nola baby. The same. Speaking of schedules, New Orleans has the easiest schedule in the NFL. And the question is, what will they do with that? What will they do with that this year? A new quarterback in Derek Carr and a schedule that lines up where they get to play the AFC South, and then the NFC South isn't good either. So, can you get to 10 wins with Derek Carr and playing the Texans, Titans, Jaguars, and so on? All right. All right. So, back from a vacation with the family where my son's senior trip went to the Dominican, and that was a lot of fun.
Did you scout any baseball players?
I didn't scout any baseball. I'm sure there were some down there. Was it Jake Bingham that told us the story about going to the Dominican for 4 to 6 weeks that first fall he went to pro ball and how brutal it was? He said they played from 6 a.m. in the morning till like 8 o'clock at night.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
And he said, now I see why they're so damn good, especially in the field, because all they do is play and play and play. And he said, once you had lunch, 6 hours after playing, you were just getting into really the meat of the day at 1 o'clock. You had about 7 more hours of, playing ball. But no, I didn't. I'd never been to the Dominican. I've been down to the Bahamas. Beautiful area, wonderful people. And the resort was nice. The accommodations, the rooms were great. The food was average. But the weather was perfect. I think it sprinkled once for about 90 seconds. And other than that, it was great. Water was blue and green. I wasn't sure we were going to get blue-green water like you get when you go to, I guess, the overwhelming majority of the places in the Bahamas. Although I had some friends text me that it's pretty down in Destin 30A this week, so that's a good thing. You got a ton of people down there. I don't know if that trickled down all the way to Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. That's a long flight from Atlanta. I did not realize it's 3 hours and 20 minutes to get to the Dominican.
From Atlanta? You didn't go to Miami? That's interesting.
No.
Okay.
Delta, Jackson to Atlanta,
okay.
straight to Punta Cana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, it's definitely a third world country. Have you ever been?
I've never been to the Dominican, no. I've been in the Caribbean, but never to the Dominican. So I was intrigued to hear your report, for sure.
Again, beautiful area. The Dominican people are amazing. Just sweet, kind people. And we couldn't have bought better weather or better water. Food was average, but we could get over that.
Is that the crystal clear water down there?
Yeah, you can see your feet in the ocean.
Incredible.
Yeah. So, but it was a good trip. Felt like when you're there, you feel like you're gone for like 3 weeks.
It's Omaha-esque is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's the same thing every day. Like you go down, everybody on the trip, 70 kids going. I mean, the travel agent did a great job. It was like herding cats. Now, the property was huge. But when you do that same routine every day for 7 days,
it becomes, that's not your style.
No.
There's people who could beach that way for their life, and you're not. You would go crazy after 2.
I was up early and roaming around every day. I was down in the Diamond Club getting coffee by 7,
Yeah, that's not your style.
No, but I had a good time. I got the parents of Wilkes' grade are a lot of fun. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. The Out of Bounds Show is powered by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and Lounge and award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. DancingRabbitGolf.com. Mike Detillier at 8:30 on the show. And good morning. We are live on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. Want to say good morning. Welcome into you. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day weekend. And I saw some amazing tributes to our amazing military, both past and present, over the weekend. Well done by some out there, whether it was social media or amazing parades around the country. Did you, Blake, go ahead and say hello.
Hey, what's up, boss? We're rocking and rolling. We got technical difficulties, but we're working through it as a squad. You know, it's like one of these NBA Finals games. You might be down in the first quarter, but it's all about what the score is at the end of the fourth quarter.
Man, you know, the Celtics were the team in the 80s and the Lakers when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And that was a tough one. I know we're not going to talk much NBA, but that Kevin McHale, Larry Bird, and Robert Parrish and DJ, even Bill Walton grabbed like 6 minutes a game on those knees. God, he was tough to watch. He was, man. He was really,
that's funny.
Really tough to watch. I missed him. I didn't watch him at UCLA, and I missed him with his Portland days. Portland won a title out of nowhere, like 76 or 77. But Bill Walton, nobody can call a Pac-12 after dark basketball game like Bill the Thrill Walton. Want to say good morning, welcome in. Big Board is brought to you by our friends at Independent Roofing Systems. Independent Roofing Systems. Independent Roofing Systems, number one commercial industrial roofing company in the state of Mississippi. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. The big topic this week for Mississippi State and Ole Miss and all the SEC teams will be how many conference games will you play next year and who will you play? And then what will it be permanent by next year, or will it be a transition year and then permanent in 2025?
What are you leaning?
You know, if anybody can get everybody on the same page, I would think it would be Commissioner Sankey and maybe Dr. Mark Keenum and some of those guys. Obviously, the Kentucky president and AD are really struggling with this.
Why do you think that is? Like, is it purely just comes down to they know that for teams
they're
like
going to take another loss, and they pride themselves on keeping their fans engaged by going to bowl games.
Yeah. And they've been this is crazy to say out loud because it doesn't really make sense. They've been one of the more successful SEC East schools, not named Georgia, over the last decade.
They have, because Florida, South Carolina, and until this year, Tennessee. And Florida Dan was 29-9 in his first three seasons. I think we forget about that. I think it's easy to forget about that.
Absolutely.
Because he went 5-6 in that fourth year. But, Florida 29-9 with an SEC championship appearance. But, yeah, the bottom line is Kentucky has been, for them, a good program.
Consistent. They've been consistently, like, they're winning at worst 6 games, and they're winning up to 8 games. It's impressive that they've done that. But I'm with you. I think that teams like Kentucky, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Arkansas, South Carolina, who cares about Vanderbilt? They're going 9 games is going to be really tough for us to win consistently with. The flip side of that is
we're going there one way or the other.
Yep.
Whether it's 2024 or 2025, we're going there. And so the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Mike D will stop by and talk some Saints and some SEC conference scheduling. I think the big loss for Ole Miss is that they're not going to pull Vanderbilt either way.
Ooh.
And that has been the greatest thing in the history of the league for them.
Yeah. There's no doubt. I mean, that's a guaranteed it's not just the easy win, it's the conference win.
All right. So, yeah, it's to play Vandy, I guess the question would be, did you take advantage of it? Did Ole Miss take advantage of playing Vanderbilt? Ole Miss and Mississippi State have been the same program since 1991. Now, prior to that, Ole Miss was a much better program. But since 1991, if you want to go 30 whatever years, 32 years, they've been the same program. And Ole Miss has pulled, Bartu will tell you the absolute gift of the scheduling gods is to get Vanderbilt every year. And you just said Kentucky's been one of the better teams in the East. Who does Mississippi State play every year? Kentucky.
Yep.
And yet they've been able to win as many games as Ole Miss. What happens when Ole Miss loses the gift of the absolute worst recruiter in the Southeastern Conference by a million miles? And that would be the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yeah, Ole Miss
and Stoops also moved Kentucky up about 12 to 13 spots in the composite recruiting rankings, which doesn't usually happen.
He's their Dan Mullen.
He is their Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
When Dan beat Michigan in the Gator Bowl in year 2, remember, Mississippi State was a 36 composite recruiter. Michigan was a number 8 composite recruiter.
That's insane.
When Dan left, Mississippi State was about a 26 composite recruiter. So it's the whole range-bound recruiting. You don't ever move up 4 spots or back 4 spots. You are who you are. And Stoops was able to bust through because 99% of teams fall in the range-bound recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
Recruiting.
Clemson's, I guess, an example of that too, right? At a little higher level, they've been able to move up into the teens.
Yeah,
and they weren't that before.
And now they're around 9.
Yeah,
I think they danced
it's pretty
around
impressive.
9 or 10.
Honestly,
when they won it with Deshaun, they were 17 because that's the worst in the modern era.
Yep.
And they were the 17th composite recruiter. Auburn was a little bit better than that with Cam Newton.
Yeah.
I think they were 12 to 13. Other than that, you have to be in the top 10, but actually, you need to be in the top 5.
Yeah, or have the transcendent NFL QB, right?
Yeah.
Ole Miss 22-11 against Vanderbilt since 1991.
Yikes.
2 out of 3 is what they're winning, basically.
That's not good enough. And Mississippi State was on a roll with Kentucky, and once Stoops got it up and running, now they split the last several years.
Starting with Mullins, I guess, second to last year or last year.
When Mullen went up and lost in 2016 with Nick Fitzgerald at the very last second on a field goal, that kind of spurred, and then the next year he beat him at home, and then Moorhead got abused in 18.
Yep.
Right? And then we've been going back and forth.
Since then,
Kentucky wins in Lexington. Mississippi State wins in Starkville. But as far as Ole Miss and Vandy, Ole Miss, like you said, I guess winning about 66% of the time?
Since 91, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Nick Saban does not like the 3 permanents they pulled, which would be Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU. Does anybody care that's listening? The Ag Up Equipment text line is 601-885-3776. The show is powered by Independent Roofing Systems, the #1 commercial industrial roofing company in Mississippi. Roofing.ms. Show is also presented by MississippiSportsMedicine.com. Want to say good morning, welcome in on a Tuesday that feels like a Monday. SEC Insider Hit coming up next.
Colin Cowherd.
Al Michaels joining us. You were the leading television.
All right, we're back. The SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your car and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. This is 105.9 The Zone ESPN. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. I've got Blake Mania with me, and there is an absolute war within the Southeastern Conference right now between some of the schools. And do you stay with 8 games, 1 permanent, 7 rotation? Or do you go to 9 and you have 3 permanent and 6 rotating? And how does that look going forward? Do they put a Band-Aid on it for 1 year to get the Kentucky president and AD on and some others? Do they put a Band-Aid on it for 1 year this week at the Sandestin Hilton? And we're going to do away with divisions either way. And next year we go 1 permanent, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and then you pull 7, kind of in a, I don't know, random algorithm, whatever you want to call it, okay? And you add Oklahoma and Texas. And then the next year, everybody figures it out. Maybe Disney stock or whatever, their mojo is in a better spot. And they decide they want to give the $5 million per team, and they want the 3 permanent and 6 rotating, and they want better weekends because we have about, 4 weekends throughout the season, or is it 5? Honestly, I don't, count. I just know we have some weekends that are stinkers. Like, you look at the schedule, and you're like, what the heck? What are we doing? Or do they look? I just find it hard to believe that Sankey doesn't get his way. Or, not his way, but kind of, look, he has looked at this nonstop, whereas a college president, yeah, they've been briefed and they've spent a lot of time on it. But this is all Commissioner Sankey and the associate commissioners do is talk about these things.
Yep.
Whereas a college president, it may be in a meeting with Blake, who's the dean of the business school, and then he's also in a meeting with the dean of the engineering school, and then he's also dean. I mean, it's just a different deal. And I'm not saying that they're not briefed and up to snuff. I know that the athletic directors and presidents from Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and every other team are. However, Sankey's been doing this since even before they added Oklahoma and Texas. Would Disney really stonewall and not add any money for Oklahoma and Texas? Because I don't think so either, because here's the deal. You know that the Big Ten and the SEC did short contracts. Mm-hmm. The last thing Disney wants is for Sankey to come back.
There you go.
When it's time to renegotiate the big boy and go, you know what? We'll bring Amazon and Fox and whoever else in as a player because y'all totally, you know what, us when we brought Texas in and Oklahoma. But the money's driven through Austin, Texas, and the Longhorns,
yep,
and so on.
Yep.
So is that – I find it hard – I think it's just super tough negotiations, and also Sankey may be sitting there thinking, look, man, we gave CBS the sweet – he didn't, but CBS got the sweetheart of sweetheart deals for over 25 years with the 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern Time kickoff of Alabama, LSU, the cocktail party, Florida, Georgia, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, all those games. And Mississippi State and Ole Miss grabbed their actually fair share, believe it or not, which was pretty cool. And then CBS said, we're not doing anything else. We're going all in on the NFL.
ESPN can't afford to do that because they're not in. They've only got Monday Night Football for the NFL,
which is huge, and they got the wild card game.
One wild
but
card game.
Don't they have a kicker coming up for Joe Buck and Troy Aikman?
I think there's an opportunity to get more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But because the one thing that Disney has, well, with all the cord cutting, I don't know if it matters, but it still kind of does. I mean, there's still better ratings on ABC, NBC, CBS compared to straight cable.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. Maybe that's kind of another 3 to 5 year shelf life.
I think
if you put the game on CBS, ABC, NBC.
Well, watch what happens, because now the NFL has fully embraced streaming. Things are going to change, in my opinion. I'm with you. I think the next
That's
5
true.
years could be
We just called
very
it
instrumental.
the Wall Street Journal and all the techie people. When we were, this is even before you joined, 10 years ago, they said it was going to happen quicker than it did.
Nope.
And it didn't. But you're right. Even I cut the cord. And I never thought I would cut the cord. Heck, my parents cut the cord.
Yeah.
So, I'm on YouTube TV here
Mm-hmm.
and at the house.
Yeah.
Thanks to Jake Manning, mssmarthomes.com.
I think the Disney and ESPN have to be very careful, because what you just said is tantamount. You can't spite yourself now because it's like, oh, I don't want to give $5 million more per school for this 9th conference game, which would be better ratings. You are correct. If you take one non-con week out and you put one more conference week in, just that, it doesn't matter what the conference matchups are. That will be a better viewership number than the non-conference.
No
weekend.
doubt.
But if
No
you
doubt.
say, hey, we're going to, bite the hand to spite the face type thing, you might find yourself on the outside looking in when this next contract comes up, because I think the SEC draws. I love the quote from Sankey where it was like, hey, we don't follow the money follows us, right? I thought that was a funny quote, but at the same time, if you're the SEC and you're the football mecca, won't people watch no matter where you are?
Okay, let me just play devil's advocate. Did they overplay their hand?
That's a great question too.
Because there's so much money wrapped up in the NFL, and here we love college football. We love SEC football. We're the Sun Belt, all that. But all the networks are going to they're so tied in with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they did, because Sankey and all his consultants and all his associate ADs and blah, blah, blah. Conference commissioners are, smart and have thought all this out. So I don't think they overplayed their hand. I just think it's going to be tough negotiations to squeeze the last bit of money out of Disney, ESPN for the 9th conference game. I may be wrong. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, is brought to you by Independent Roofing Systems, the #1 commercial industrial roofing company in Mississippi, roofing.ms. Bo Bounds, Blake Scott with you on a Tuesday. Feels like a Monday after Memorial Day weekend. We want to say, Blake, thank you to all the men and women who served, past and present. And it was great to see the amazing red, white, and blue patriotism at a time when maybe some people want to take shots at that. So I thought, the different parades, the celebrations, honoring our wonderful military I thought what the Mississippi Braves did was incredible. Pete Lavin and his team put on an absolute clinic and show over the weekend, celebrating our military, and that was strong for sure. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. Another big topic is, did Ole Miss take advantage of playing Vanderbilt now that they won't play Vanderbilt going forward? This is the last, Kiffin's three of Kiffin's wins are against Vanderbilt.
Solid.
That's incredible. You can't put a price on that. Kiffin draws Vanderbilt again this year.
It's a dub.
Yeah.
In a season when you especially need one, if you're Lane Kiffin and you pull Georgia and Alabama.
And yet Mississippi State does not pull Vanderbilt. So you start off with an incredible advantage year in, year out for the last 30-plus years.
Yep.
But the Vanderbilt-Ole Miss game is going away as a permanent.
Yeah, right now.
You could play every other. If we go to 9, you could still play them a good bit.
You would. You'd play them 2 out of 4 years.
Right.
Would be the.
But Mississippi State starts to get the Vanderbilt Commodores, which is something that has eluded them for the last 100 years. They've only played them a few dozen times.
So we've talked so much about the 9-game schedule and what it dictates in terms of you have 3 permanents and 6 rotational. We focus a lot on the 3 permanents. For Mississippi State, we believe it would be A&M, Arkansas, Ole Miss, not Arkansas, A&M, Kentucky, Ole Miss, and for Ole Miss, it was going to be LSU, Arkansas, and Mississippi State.
Right.
To me, it's not just those three that you pull. It's who are your six and what year do you get them in?
No doubt. You are exactly right. What year do you get those six, and how does that look as far as home and away? By the way, if you go to 9 conference games, some years you'll have 5 home conference games, and some years you'll have 4 home conference games and 5 on the road. So Kiffin and Ole Miss need to make hay with their last permanent Vanderbilt game. And Kiffin's been very, very fortunate to draw, just like every Ole Miss coach, the Vanderbilt Commodores, who are not only the worst recruiter in the SEC, but they are the worst recruiter by far and away. Our Ag Up Equipment text line, Ag Up Equipment John Deere Tractor text line is 601-885-3776. 885-3776. True Maroon shoots us a text, a picture of Desmond Howard, Reese Davis, Lee Corso. Is Corso coming back? And then Kirk Herbstreit. You know, they dropped Pat McAfee in there, and you have to wonder, I can't remember, was that officially announced that he's retiring, or is he going to come back and spot duty one more year? I'll have to go back and search if they dropped a press release after the national championship on the legendary Lee Corso. I want to know how many of you grilled out yesterday, and what did you put on the grill? After being in the Dominican and eating that food for 7 days, I cooked everything that I could yesterday on the grill. So I went, but I went traditional. Chicken, wings, drumsticks, burgers, and deer sausage. And I thought it was a huge win because it was tough to get a good meal down in the Dominican. I lived off croissants and French fries. I know. Now, the accommodations were amazing. The people were amazing. The weather was amazing. And we had a large time. And the people who put it together did a great job because it was like herding. It was 180 of us from MRA. Yep. Not students, counting parents. Like, I think 70 students. And then counting some it was just one parent. Some it was 2. I think it was about 180 of us that took over that resort down in the Dominican. But we had a really, really good time. And I felt like the alarm clock went off at like 3 a.m. this morning instead of 5 a.m. You can watch us now on YouTube. Search Out of Bounds Sports. We've got a couple of technical difficulties here that we're working with. And we're going to get right through those. And then we're going to be rolling once again. We'll have Mike Detillier on at 8:30 on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Mike Detillier on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line at 8:30. He's heading to Saints OTAs today. And speaking of scheduling, Blake, the Saints have the easiest schedule that I can remember in modern day NFL as far as quarterbacks that they draw in the NFC South and AFC South. And, this looks like a schedule where you absolutely have to go to the playoffs, and you would like to host a home game in New Orleans, because the NFC South doesn't have a good quarterback other than Derek Carr. And then you get the AFC South with the Texans, the Colts, the Titans, and the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence.
It's like 3 Vandies.
Wow.
That's the 3 NFL Vandies.
3 NFL Vandies. Are we rolling now?
We believe we are back on. Everybody back there says that we're good, so we're good, according to sources.
Can I pull a Ross Bjork? Let me get a hell yeah.
Hell yeah!
Okay. Let's definitely do that. Did you grill out yesterday?
I grilled out Friday. I played disc golf for like 5 hours yesterday.
Wow.
I got out there at like 9 o'clock, and then I left at like 1 o'clock.
Okay.
It was fun. That's 1:30, something like that. Yeah, 4.5 hours, something like that.
4.5 hours.
Yeah, it was a good day.
We went out on the boat.
See,
yesterday.
I don't have a boat. I would have done that before disc golf, honestly.
Yeah, and then but I started cooking early, like 9:30.
Oh, you said that you put a smorgasbord on the grill. What did you? What
Well,
did you
I
grill?
needed some food that was good.
Heard.
And I hadn't had a good. Again, great trip, good accommodations, wonderful people, all that. But the food just was average, and so we needed a lot of protein. So we threw an insane amount of chicken, breast and wings and drumsticks on, and then did a bunch of burgers, and then some deer sausage, and I think something else. Oh, hot dogs.
Oh,
my kids requested hot dogs.
Interesting.
I can't remember which kind they like, but I said it a couple of months ago. I'll have to figure that out. So, and then they had a bunch of people out.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was a gorgeous weekend.
It was.
I can't believe. I know you had great weather down in the Dominican, obviously, but the past like 3 weeks has been the nicest May I can ever remember in my entire life.
It's really, really good.
Crazy how comfortable the temperature's been and nice it's been to be outside. I know it's changing. I know they said like humidity is coming this week.
Oh, is it?
That's what I heard. That's what sources said.
That's not cool.
Yeah, I know.
Man, yesterday, and like you said, it was in the last several weeks have been great.
I've been outside as much as I can the last like 3 weeks because it's so nice outside.
War Eagle Rich said it was a big weekend at the War Eagle house. He smoked 2 Boston butts, deer sausage on Sunday. Then yesterday, grilled burgers, wings, and hot dogs.
Ooh. He just kept the grill hot the whole weekend. He just never slowed it down.
You know how when you go down to the Bahamas, you see people in Speedos? It just throws me off.
Did you have one? Did you have an OOB Speedo?
I didn't. I thought, maybe
have.
I should have had a red, white, and blue or an out of bounds or a Whiskey 61 Speedo, but I didn't.
No.
But there were several men. It's kind of a Bahamas European thing.
It is very European.
Very European.
Very European. There's no shame in the European culture, is there? They let it all hang out.
They do let it all hang out.
Literally and figuratively.
Man.
Look at Longhorn Josh.
What is this?
Dude, that looks
is
like
that a
brisket. Yeah. Two things of ribs.
Dang,
and
that
some
looks
brisket
good.
And ooh. Should we I know we were talking about doing a giveaway. Should we give away for best picture of what you grilled over the weekend?
Yeah, let's do a Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue B3 $25 gift certificate, and then we'll throw in a hat and a shirt and some other goodies for our post-Memorial Day weekend. Let me get a hell yeah from Ross Bjork giveaway.
Oh, man. Hell yeah. We're champions, baby.
Is anybody listening to Ross Bjork in the SEC spring meetings?
No, because it's just Jimbo. They just sent Jimbo instead of Ross. When they called all the schools, they were like, send us your decision makers. Every other AD showed up, and then Jimbo Fisher showed up for A&M. That's all.
Oh,
That's
I
all that
cooked a
happened.
steak last night, too.
Oh, proud of you.
At the end, after I did all the daytime cooking, I threw a steak in the cast iron.
Smart. You did steak not on the grill, though.
Right. This
So-
was later, and this was 5:30.
Got you.
5:45.
You'll be proud of me. On Friday, a buddy of mine came over. I did ribeyes on my Gourmet Guru grill. And I put my cast iron on there and did smoked peppers and onions to go with those ribeyes.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. Put the cast iron on the grill so that you get the smoke. Cook those peppers and onions up in that smoke with the ribeye. Oh,
You got
was
that
fire.
smoke.
It was fire.
All right.
Used some Jonesy Q on my peppers and onions.
Man, did you see what Jeff Jones and Jonesy Q and Wickers did at Memphis in May? They came home with some serious hardware.
Ooh, they brought the trophies, huh?
Yeah.
All right. That's impressive. And that's like I don't know if it's
No,
the
it's-
Super Bowl, but it's the NFL. I mean, it's the highest level of cooking.
It has to be top 3 on the circuit.
I would think so. Yeah.
Or the Super Bowl. Now, Jeff refers to it as the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I couldn't make it up there this year because Wilkes was graduating, and we usually do that show from Memphis, and we've done it the last 3 years. But I couldn't do that. Hey, we want to let you know that the Ag Up Equipment text line is 601-885-3776. I want to say congratulations to Southern Miss for winning the big baseball tournament, the Sun Belt.
Right.
And
The Fun Belt.
they're going to Auburn.
Yikes.
I know.
Third straight season playing an SEC team in a regional or super regional. Wow. Arkansas, then Ole Miss, now Auburn in the regional.
Scott Berry's going out with a bang. They've been on fire. But Butch Thompson and Auburn, they have a really good club, too. How about all those hosts? Feels weird this week to not have Mississippi State or Ole Miss in, and you've got Kentucky in.
10 SEC teams, 8 hosts, none are Mississippi State or Ole Miss.
John Cohen whipped that committee into shape. He did, as the chairman of the committee and the athletic director at Auburn. Want to say good morning, welcome in. We're giving away a $25 gift certificate to Burgers, Blues, and Barbecue. And we're going to throw in a shirt and a hat, maybe some other goodies. Post-Memorial Day weekend. Tell us what you cooked. If you've got a picture, send it on the Ag Up Equipment text line, 601-885-3776. We've got Mike Detillier at 8:30 on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. And the infamous Patrick Kelly, straight out of Oxford. Finch and Kelly, among other things. Hey, he brought the catfish taco to Jackson, Mississippi, and he will always be a legend to me. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. The show is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance.